Hey there. Good morning. We're back. We're back for more live coding. My name is Jeff Fritz, and this is my live coding stream. And my event box there is empty for some reason. There it goes. Hey, M. Joma. Good to see you. Good morning from Australia. It's evening over there, I think. My gosh, we had a great day yesterday with our architecture workshop. Oh my gosh, midnight. Whoo! Omaha. Oh my gosh, Denerd, thanks so much for joining us. And there's Core Bob. Hello, hello. Let me see if I can get that. If I can get that little box to repopulate properly here for us. Pro streamer here. That's me. We're gonna. And of course, now it's all the wrong size. Thanks so much. Now let's see if it actually fills out properly. We'll keep an eye on that. Hey, Moz! Oh my gosh, we saw Moz had a picture for us on Twitter a couple days ago. Moz got her own Works on My Machine mug. That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, Zath. Let me make sure I pronounce that right. Zathras 11, right? XI, the 11th. Thanks so much for the compliment there. That was a lot of content yesterday. That was a real treat to be able to have those experts on joining us. I'm always flattered when these folks agree to join me for a little bit of live coding, a little bit of pair programming. It's great fun to have them share their knowledge, share their expertise with us, and to answer your questions, right? That's kind of the drive of this, is I want to make sure that you, our viewers, our pair programmers out there, you're able to get some help, get the feedback you need to help solve any, software problems that you may be working on. Let's start up some music in the background here today. You know what? I'm going to go with Blue. I really like this. It gets me in the groove and feels good. Right? This is of course music to code by from our friend Carl Franklin. When we're just doing a solo coding stream here, I like to play some music in the background, and Carl has graciously allowed us to play this while we're writing some code together. I encourage you, if you like some of the music you hear that I'm playing on stream, check it out, mtcb.pwop.com, or of course you can download his app for your iPhone or Android. That's called Music to Flow By. You'll get a new song each month when you subscribe, and it helps fund more cool music like this song, Blue, that we're hearing right now. Let's see. I am updating my PRs to end with Works on My Machine, ship it. That's great, Core Bob. There's so I have other versions of that logo. I'm actually trying to get a logo created for the stream over on Fiverr. We'll see what comes of that. But thanks so much. Showing my mom Twitch live programming. Hey there, John's mom. Hello. Good to see you. I'm Jeff. I write code here. We're going to get over and we're going to look at some code in a little bit. But thanks so much for joining us, Mom. I'm glad you could tune in. And it's all family friendly here, I promise. So I'm wearing my Philadelphia Fusion hat today, right? I try to wear a different hat each stream, but I've got to wear this hat again. It's the only hat I have for the team. Now, Philadelphia Fusion, they play in the Overwatch League. So, Mom, it's a video game, first-person shooter, right? So you get to see exactly what people are aiming at. 2 teams of 6, and they fight each other. It's kind of like the army, but it's like cartoony. It's okay. There's no blood. And and these are professionals. They're being paid to play video games. All right. So last night, London beat Los Angeles to make it to the grand finals. and the season-ending grand finals. So London Spitfire are in the finals, and we're going to find out today who advances between New York and Philadelphia. The Mid-Atlantic Street Fight is back, going up the Jersey Turnpike. Not really, because all the games are in Los Angeles. But we'll see who advances between Philly and New York. Philly has a 1-0 lead. It's a best-of-3 series. If Philly wins the next match, they advance to face London in the finals. Oh my gosh. Hey, all right. I'm glad you're happy, Mom. And I'll be over for dinner later, if that's okay. So, I have to eat gluten-free. So, I know it's kind of a problem. But I'll catch you later. All right. Thanks so much, Mom. What do we got here? Hey, good afternoon, Braga. And there's Nightbeat. Hello. Yo. Let's see. What else do we have here? We'll see how Microsoft likes it in the 2 PRs. I'm just about ready to remove the works in progress heading. What do you mean, how Microsoft? Microsoft doesn't have anything to do with this. You're working on your landing page. Let's see what this is. A screenshot of a person. Tutor Studio. Ooh, that looks neat. A powerful tool for educators. That looks kind of cool. All right. I like it. So yesterday we had our architecture workshop, and that was a lot of fun. I want to learn a little bit. I want to grow a little bit from where we left off there, and see how we can impact some of our code. And there were some great comments last night my time, from Ashley around thinking about how we process data, right? So when we interact with one of our website pages, how should we process that data? How should we fetch the data from our database? And then how do we load it into the website? And based on some of the things that we saw from Jimmy Bogart with the mediator framework, some of the things we saw from Julie Lerman around domain-driven design, and how we had these really anemic objects that are very tightly coupled to the database. It feels like we should start moving into a pattern where we abstract a little bit further, where we're not directly working with the database. In this way, then, we can do better model binding, right? We can receive all of those things that are being passed in from the website and allow those to be inspected and validated appropriately before we commit them to storage. Just a placeholder. I have 2 PRs I'm preparing for the VS Code PowerShell extension. So I'm going to take work in progress out as they're just about complete and just say it works on my machine. That's cool. Not sure how Microsoft will feel about that logo. Just a placeholder at the moment. Bummed you missed the workshop. So if you're interested in catching up with the workshop, it's you can find it here. If you click the videos button, it's somewhere up here above me on Twitch. You'll be able to find the entire 8 hours right there in Twitch. Now, I'm doing some editing. I'm simplifying it a little bit so that it's so that there's 1 hour segments or an hour and a half, depending on how long we had our guests join us. And what I'm doing is I'm grabbing some of the links and things that those folks mentioned and they wanted to share during their hour, and I'm attaching them to the videos, and we're going to publish them as a complete playlist out on YouTube that you'll be able to go out and watch. So that way, everybody's got YouTube on every device, just like everybody's got Twitch on every device. You'll be able to go out and watch it wherever you want to get video. Skater Die, thanks so much for that subscription. And here's what I'm going to do. I will, of course, match that subscription, and we'll make a donation to Girl Develop It. They help women, underserved minorities, make sure that they get an opportunity to learn to write code, just like we're doing here. So thanks so much for that. And, of course, as Standby Reloading is showing there, you're going to get the .NET Bot as an emote that you can use everywhere. What was that GIF? There's got to be a story behind it. It was Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer dancing. Why not? Yeah, I use a couple of Microsoft folks in the announcement GIFs that you see down here at the bottom, and I'm open to putting other equally goofy technology folks in there, and rotate them through. But Steve Ballmer is a personal favorite to have down there. Not that I've met the man. And Mr. Ballmer, if you are out there and you do catch a little bit of the stream here, I do appreciate the work you did for Microsoft and in the 2000s to change technology. I know you're more focused on basketball now, but we really appreciate it because it was under your watch that .NET came into being. So Erwin has a question. What's the roadmap plan for extensibility? That's a great question, Erwin, and I loved what Miguel brought to us yesterday because it really started to answer. And let me head over here to GitHub. Let's talk about this. So Miguel actually, he wanted to bring extensibility in and show something that we could relate to. And oh my gosh, look at this! All my things over here moved. That doesn't make me happy. Let's see, we need to shrink this a little bit and move this around over here. There we go. I think that's better. It's not as wide as it should be, but it works for now. Wouldn't .NET purple? Let me get to EM Triple's question there in a second. So Miguel really took a look at the Core Wiki project, and he wanted to talk about extensibility, and he had some great ideas that he showed us yesterday around intercepting the save of an article, right? So on a wiki, you're going to edit your articles, you're going to create new articles, and then you're going to save. And he put 2 extensibility points in there, one before the save and one after the save. And I think this is a great place for us to introduce and talk about an issue that we put in here around, where did it go? Around possibly workflowing, right? You know what? It's not in here. I thought we created something around workflow. Nope. Yes. Oh, I did mention it in here. So there's right now an error when you create an article as a guest. So we actually put a security check in front of this. Now, and Ashley found this and said, maybe we want to put we want guests to be able to create articles, not sure. But I think there's some concept of moderation or workflowing that we want to be able to do when folks edit an article. And I think Miguel's extensibility architecture that he showed us, that feature would be really great to allow us to intercept and light up moderation capabilities appropriately if it's configured inside the application. I don't understand what I just watched, but it was amazing. So I think there's something here that we could do. I would love to dive into it, but the branch wasn't pushed, and I think you had plans to bring him back on to continue working on extensibility. Where Miguel was editing, if we are going to bring in the mediator pattern, some of that code's going to change dramatically. So I think we can start talking about it. I think we can start working on it. And gosh, Erwin, I appreciate your enthusiasm for the topic. So let's I tell you what, I will push where we left off with Miguel, so that if you are interested, if you want to take a look and you want to work on that a little bit, you'll be able to. Let's see here. So 2.7. Let's see. Yeah, and he had this idea, right? The chapel, right? That doesn't allow any swearing, doesn't want any profanity in their content, which makes sense, right? If just like here, we want to be family friendly. We want this to be a non-threatening place, so that even mom, hey mom, you still out there? Doesn't have a problem watching, right? We're talking about code. There's no need for us to swear or to get into anything lewd here. So let's I like the idea of this. So we're going to commit these changes, and you know what? We should go to code view there. All right, we can go to my sound effects. Start being able to drop this in. You found the Steve Ballmer, Bill Gates dancing video. Yes. All right. Let me commit this. Code completed with Miguel during the workshop. And I will push, and it's yes. I don't understand why it doesn't just give me an option to commit that, like prompt me. Oh, did you mean to do this? Yes. Go ahead, do it. Hey, the Praddock, thanks so much for the follow. You know what? I think I can turn Steve's sound back up there. You know what? I'll do it here. No. My friend Ellieface, you saw her for a little bit yesterday. I don't know why, but it put me in German mode. Huh? But our friend Ellieface yesterday, she clipped some of our video yesterday, and that was great to see, and I appreciate her jumping in and helping out with that. She's a big fan of stream elements, and right now I'm using Streamlabs for our friend Steve there, and you know what? It's to each their own, you know? Let me see here. I'm turning all my audio settings back on here. There we go. All right. Oh, geez. And now all this video is wonky. You know, you want to fix that. The chat box should be loaded up there, but for some reason it looks like it refreshed. Chat, we still there? Can somebody... Hello? There we go. What do we have here? Oh, thank you, Maz. Yeah, why did it refresh? It shouldn't be refreshing when I flip like that. Alright. So, the extensibility branches out there if you want to take a look at what Miguel was working on with us. Alright, so EM Triple was thinking, wouldn't .NET Purple be a more appropriate color for your beard than rainbow? Hey, SZ19. Regarding the beard, we brought in almost 100 new followers yesterday. Check that out, 2920. We're closing in on 3,000. 3,000 is a massive number for me. But the challenge stands, and I need to figure out where to put it here on the video. And even the GitHub scoreboard didn't load properly. Let's see if we can get that to appear. There we go. Score ticker. For the challenge stands if we get to the middle of October. October 20, I think, is the date that we're settling on. And if we get to 5,000 followers, so almost another 2,000. Yeah, I did, Joe Bun, and they still move around a little bit for some reason. Oh, thank you for the follow, SC. And I lock and unlock these things so frequently. But if we get to October 20 and we get to 5,000 followers, I will dye my beard rainbow colored. You'll catch up later. Looking forward to DDD and mediator stuff. Oh, thank you, SoulRevDev. And catch you later, Mom. See ya. Great, and I'll be over for dinner sometime later this week, okay? Is that cool? Still need about 23 followers a day at this point. Mom doesn't like the look of Balmer. I'm sorry, Mom. Steve has greeted more than 2,900 people. All right. So we have our extensibility branch out there. Let's see, what else? So that was about this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's roll over to... We have a pull request here in CoreWiki. Fixes article creation and edit issues. Oh, look at this. Emo's got one. This is for error 207. Creating a new article does not save username. This, I think we just were missing some mapping here. In the repository, attach the article, set the state to... you broke it up into 2 steps. Okay. Author name is user identity name. I can't believe that wasn't there before, but okay. And then model error, article not found exception. Okay, that looks good. I am going to take that. Fantastic. Thanks for the contribution. This is a good one to catch. All right. What do we got here? There are... Ooh. I tried to get CoreWiki, but none of the NuGet packages would restore. Exponential growth to the rescue. Well, maybe. Maybe. There's something to be said for the folks that are following us. If they're enjoying and they tell their friends, and as we grow, they tell more friends, maybe we do grow faster. We'll see. What do we got here? Programming buddies. There are enough devs that are in dire need help with the front end. Yeah, you're right. All right. So that's that pull request. Now, I've got 4 projects out here that are in various states here that it'd be great to kind of lock in and finish one of these. But I think for this, supporting wiki text and article ratings, I'm okay with saying that we don't need them to finish this. And to remove them from the project so we can close this out. Because I don't think either one of them were kind of clamoring for and saying, we need to get this one done. So I'm going to remove those and close the project and say this is complete. We've got article versions done, and they work really nicely. We got some great feedback from our friend Mark Miller yesterday about how we can make that diff screen look a little bit better. I think we can go back to some of the things he said and apply some of those CSS changes and some of those updates to make that a little bit better. Erwin says, I'm currently writing unit tests for the notifications. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that, because the way the notifications are out there, we've moved our notification capabilities into their own project, and it's going to be... We've really pulled out all of those needs to be tightly coupled to the web application. So this is going to make it a lot easier for us to test, to ensure that we get a nice format coming out of those. I think there might be a place for an integration test to be able to output into somewhere that we can actually verify that it looks good. There's a concept out there of approval tests where, right, you can set, here's what the web page looks like, and feed an actual image. It'll compare 2 images and tell you if it's good enough of a match, and approve it or not. My friend Kathleen Dollard really likes the idea of approval tests, and there's a bit of typical unit testing that goes on here, but you can also do this with with images. Create code so it works. Approve results so it continues to work. Change the requirements. See the new solution. And there is a way using approval tests in .NET. There we go. So there's a whole set from Llewellyn Falco, and these are really cool that we could use. Comparing results, approving results, image reporter. There you go. Right, so we could generate, we could take it, we could use something like phantomjs to help take a snapshot of what our output looks like and compare it to a known good image. And, oh, you got your NuGet packages restored. Good. And I think this might be something cool to do to help unit test things like notifications where we want a standard formatted email and we want to make sure that it looks appropriate. CJD, I guess that's 12. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. I look forward to hearing from you in the chat room. If you have any questions, you want to talk about development, we're happy to chat. All right. So at some point, this might be fun to get in, and maybe we even reach out to Llewellyn and ask if he wants to join us to talk about adding approval tests into our project. That might be fun to do. And just to make sure that I remember it here, I'm going to, it might be a good integration test to execute an approval test against the rendered HTML from an email notification. And let's put a link to that approval tests. I was just there. Approvaltests.com. And that is definitely an enhancement, and it's not something, I'll put help wanted on it if somebody's interested in taking a look at that. But it's not something that I think is needed immediately, but I want to put it in the parking lot so we can come back to that. One more PR submitted, I see up here. Route for article wiki pages and links. What do we got here? This is 183. Should we have separate routes for our pages and articles? Now, let me open this up. So the discussion here was, with the way routing works, we're able to create inaccessible articles by giving them a topic of a route that already exists. Very good point here. We have some of these protected pages like the home page, but we also have pages that you can't really create, like create or search or all or latest changes. So this is an interesting problem here. And I like the idea that C17, actually, is C17 here? Yeah. I like this idea of creating just a single character to say this is for the wiki, this is an article. So that's not too bad. And now the PR here, let's take a look at this. 6 files changed. Let's turn off white space changes so that we don't see some of those. I see somebody doesn't like my curly braces, but the idea of protected pages, yeah. Hey, aspiring DevOps guru. Okay, this is a rollback from what we just applied. That's not gonna fly. We're gonna need to look at that. So here's the routing, and you see slash, and then instead of it being just the slug page, it's /wiki/whatever. And okay, there's the identity, so that's fine. Create article from link, and now we're going to /wiki. slash whatever. Now, I think we should actually turn this into using the route directly for generating that. Hey Andres, good to see you. Yep, we've been at it for about a half an hour. Okay, yeah, same thing here, right? So now you've added /a in there, but I don't think we added /a into our route table. So where does /a go? Right, so there's edit, and then article row. So I don't... Right, 6 files changed. You meant to change all /a's to /wiki. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of work here to get this merged. All right. All right, so let's take a look. And we will. All right, so let's check out my dev branch. Pull the latest from there. Cool. And let's merge in what we've got there. And we will open Visual Studio and take a look-see. All right. Come on, Visual Studio. So the problem I'm having with rendering the workshop from yesterday, the video format that comes out, it's using a slightly different encoder that Camtasia, that's what I'm using to format and put annotations and whatnot into, is doesn't quite support it, so I need to reformat it first. And it's a 20 gig video, so I'm doing that re-rendering so that I can edit the file. All right, now I really liked, now that I'm in control, I really liked from this discussion, right? Ashley said, somebody said there, C17 said, let's make it a configurable choice for the routing. And having routing be configurable like that is a little bit tricky to do. It's not impossible, but it's a little bit tricky to do. So let's go back over to startup. And startup, we've kind of moved everything out at this point, and all of our routing is now over here in configure routing. And it's when we go to the details for a page, it's actually /wiki/ and then whatever the title of that page is. So you thought you changed. So we need to find, right? So there's this idea, and it's right here now, right? /a, right? So now you see this is, right? This is managing magic text, magic strings, and if we ever decide, like we just did, to change how that works, now we've got to go play hunt and peck. We've got to go find it everywhere in our code and change it and adapt it. And we might find everything, we might not. And that would feel bad if we missed some, right? So how do we make sure that we keep everything in line so that we, right, it becomes a little bit easier to manage these things? So I'm going to go back to configure routing. And what you can do when you add the page route, and I'll specifically go after this one right here. Not there. You can give it, you used to be able to give it a name. Or am I thinking, I thought there were multiple options there. Isn't there a helper function that will make the URL for you given the route name and its parameters? Yes, Andres, and that's exactly where I'm going for. Absolutely. I think that's the right way to do this, so we're not cobbling together these strings. However, what I'm seeing for add page route is that there's only one here, and it doesn't allow you to name the route. Pages are different than controllers. You're right, Ozcoder. Isn't that an IURL helper? Let's take a look. I want to add page route and get the creating custom routes. This isn't it, because that's for regular ASP.NET. That's not for ASP.NET Core. Razor Pages route and app conventions. Ta-da! Let's see here. Add page route convention later in this topic. Yes, there's a whole convention on page. No, not a conference or a convention, but like a standard. The sample app's custom route allows the optional blah. The page also includes this optional segment in its @page directive in case the visitor accesses the page at its /contact route. So let's go back to the details page. Just make sure right up top here, page, and then it takes some slug information. So we could just go to /details, whatever the slug is, and have it do that. Yeah, I think the page name would be the other way to go. But I kind of like, I think somebody was saying, is that an URL helper? Is there a helper function that will make the URL for you given the route name and its parameters? What Andres was saying, yeah. And Erwin was suggesting an URL helper. I think we add this. Didn't we have a URL helper or something here? Yeah, here we go. Slug to topic, URL friendly. Right, so we've cleaned up some of the text here. Maybe we can put the formatting for that details URL just here, so that it is then, even though we're not using routing directly, but it's still in one place, so that if we do change the formatting of it later, we can still reference and come back to it in one place. Yeah, I think it is working with the page name instead of the route name. I think you're right, least fixed point. It's got to somehow be putting them together, because we have a route that takes you right to the root. We have a route that takes you to, right, if you pass some other information in, it'll take you to wiki/slug. Okay, so let's go back to create article from wiki. So /wiki/ and then it's going to format. And I also don't like homepage is kind of floating around here. This could be another constant that we refactor out. In fact, I think I'm going to do that right now. And let's make that a public static string homepage slug. Yeah. Hey. Thank you. So then I can replace those with URL helpers, homepage slug, and get rid of that text being managed everywhere. Okay, so I think that should clean up a little bit now. Let's see how this looks. See how this works now. How's my bit rate? Ah, it's fine. Alright. Now things are going to get a little wacky, right? Because if I go to the home page, page not found. Go to home page, page not found. Because it's now under wiki / still not finding it. Right, so we've got a little bit of routing that's not quite landing where we want it to be. The extension method is on IURL helper, but IURL helper comes from the HTTP context. That's what the identity pages use. Should you use string.empty, not double quote? I can go either way on it. Yes, you are allocating a little bit of memory, but it's not killing us here. Was working on my machine. So let's look at this. So right now, /homepage, right? If I go to all articles, this does work. And if I mouse over this, it's trying to go to /wiki /homepage. And if I click on that, that does open. Latest changes does work. If I mouse over here, it wants to go to the root, which it changes into /homepage, page not found. So let's go back over here. So the root is this, right? We really need that sticker. Have we considered the redirect to page index method? Hold that thought. Your homepage is homepage, not home-page. Right. It's not referenced anywhere here. It's routing to it, right? If I mouse over this, it's trying to go to, right? And even if I change this to home-page, it's not finding it. If I change this to /wiki /home-page, it's rerouting when it shouldn't. If I go to all articles and I click on, and you can't see it here, it's behind my head. Let me move this around a little bit so you can see. If I mouse over homepage, you can barely see it there. It says /wiki /homepage with no hyphen, and it finds it. So if I go back to the root here, it finds it. So the root page going to / is not finding it. So let me go back into the details page. There we go. Slug. I need to stop the application. URL helpers. Homepage slug. Now this comes back to that homepage slug should have a hyphen between it instead of be all jammed together because it's not being managed properly. I get the route pages itself, but I would recommend adding some helpers that work with name of to remove those magic strings you have everywhere as well. Great point, least fix point. Yes, I completely agree. Let's use some name of to get rid of some of that. Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's on post. So now look, on post, where'd it go? Is going to /article slug. Now it needs to go to /wiki /article slug. And up here in the on get, slug equals slug, or it's homepage slug. Article equals await. Now, at some point, it's doing this redirect. Right, and this needs to have that as well. Article not found slug. That's fine. Return page. So at some point, at some point, it's doing that. Yeah. At some point, it's doing this redirect. I agree with who mentioned that? C17 regex search for home dash question mark page. Yes, let's do that. Home dash question mark page. Right, so the question mark says from that dash question mark, the question mark says that the dash character is optional. Let's see if we can find that everywhere. Oh boy. Okay, so there's our homepage slug. Go to homepage. It's just going to slash, that's fine. Slash wiki, here we go. On article row. If model slug equals homepage, go to the root. Here it is again. Okay, go back to that find result. Create article from link. And hopefully we'll find where this is, that's fine. Fine. Here we are in details. If model article slug does not equal homepage, that's fine. And then edit. All right, let's see if that helps. And there we go. All right. Maybe even consider making a slug wrapper class around string if it's pervasive as it seems to be. Let the compiler help you. Ooh. I like that idea, at least, fixed point. To actually have a slug class that has some of these constants hanging off of it and has some of these slug string management capabilities. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something there. So that works. That works. Now, and right, these are all landing appropriately. Right, if I go to an article, this is a new article, it's under /wiki, so we don't have that collision. So for the purposes of this pull request, I think we've satisfied the feature, right? We even did a little bit more in there. So I am going to I'm going to commit this. Let's make sure, yeah. Fixed routing to /wiki. Cool. And paste in those changes, push them up. Merged. Fantastic. Thanks for the help on this. Cool. All right. Look at this. You guys are going at it and pushing some stuff in here as we're writing code. What's this one? Fix some razor issues. What razor issues? For each item in model order by descending. You removed an @ sign there. For each var link in... okay. I don't think that changes too much there. To title case, remove hyphens. To title case, remove hyphens. Okay. Comments partial. Editor script CSHTML. Oh, look, you changed them from lets to consts. Alright. I'm not... The only thing that changed there is from a for loop to a for each. Fine. We'll take it. Now, I want to figure out why this homepage doesn't have a hyphen in it. It should be home page, init capped in both, right? If we look at our seed data, and then we'll start talking about some of that architecture changing. No, that's fine. Where'd it go? Data. Where'd the seed data go? Isn't it? Think. Is it here? There it is. Topic equals homepage, slug equals home dash page. So this should be converted to that. Wasn't there a remove hyphen function? Let me come back to that. I kind of agree with you. Should add dash, this one right here, between words, right? So literally 1-2 should become 1-2, right? Similarly, this should go from home page to home dash page. Right, and that should still work. Come on, unit test. There we go. So when you save an article, that's what it should look like. Hi, I'm Molly is in the chat room. Hey, Molly. Right. Nope, looks like Molly took off. So, hey there. I'm sorry, I just looked over at the chat and saw, hi, I'm Molly is in the chat room. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about coding, any of the things we're building here, feel free to ask. We've got lots of friendly folks here that are always happy to answer and help out other people learning about some of the things we're looking at. So we're building a wiki right now using C# and ASP.NET. Hey, Serenity, yeah, it is a cool Fusion hat. But I'll be watching the VOD. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Molly. Yeah, and you know what? I do have I'm one of these people. I did the cheering in the chat room. Where is it? There it is. There you go. I even got the Fusion emote because I cheered in the Overwatch League Twitch room. Okay. Oh my gosh. Is that Matthew81? Thank you so much for that subscription. I appreciate you using your Twitch Prime subscription here with us. You're going to get the .NET Bot emote, and we're going to make a matching contribution so that together we help support Girl Develop It, so that women, young ladies, underserved minorities can learn how to write code just like we're doing here. Thanks so much for the subscription. Alrighty. And please, folks that do have subscriptions and you have that emote, go ahead and share it in some of the other programmers' chat rooms. Let them know that you've got the .NET bot emote. You got it from me. All right. So I want to figure out why, at least in my database, right? And I'm gonna nuke my database so it rebuilds. Why don't I have home-page in my initial data here? Because it's clearly being created as the default here, and it should be available. So I'm going to let's go down into the core wiki project. And where's that database? Where's that stinking database? I don't see it. Is it in bin? Let's see here. Debug. Netcore app. Where is that database? AppData, you're right. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thanks for catching that least fixed point. Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Wiki content. All right. Let me. You know what? I'm just gonna move it so that I've got. So I can make a comparison. And let's restart the application. And it should be home-page is the page that gets created. Okay, so just going to the root of the website lands properly. We need to figure out why this isn't, why the topic, right? If I look, you know what? Okay. So the topic, when it's mushed together like that in wiki text, when we present it, we should probably put a space back between it. Do you think that sounds right, chat room? Let me know. I'm going to go back over to latest changes. There's homepage. When I mouse over it, it actually wants to go to the root. So that actually looks like we've got it correct. Philly hat, and yesterday had lots of hats from Fritz. Are you... I've got the Overwatch hat. Shield hat. Heroes of the Storm. Zandrasan, thanks so much for the follow. Thor, God of Thunder. Here's my really old Microsoft hat. I can't reach more of them. They're over there. But Janescu, there's tons of hats over here. They're all over the place. There's hats. Let me tell you, and now that you guys know about the hats, the boss, Mrs. Fritz, is actually okay with me getting more hats. And that's a good thing. Need a core wiki hat. Oh. That's a cool idea. But I feel like the CW logo looks kind of like the Chicago White Sox. Why not just seed the homepage with the topic home space page and it'll generate the slug home-page? Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to that. So let's change this. We'll do that. And I'm going to delete wiki content. Try this again. Works on my machine logo hat. Now, Maz, I love the idea of getting that on a hat. The problem that I'm worried about is the stitching, right? Is it going to be too much detail with all the text on there, right? Let me go to the bigger view here, right? So if you look at all the text in there. Is that too intricate for the embroiderer? I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to my embroiderer. Oh yeah, I have an embroiderer. So I changed it to home space page. See that? And I'm still getting home page all jammed together. That bugged me for weeks, but I thought I was being pedantic. No, Smab. I'm right there with you. Janescu. Okay. There is a Cricut where you can print logos to shirts, so why not to a hat also? Funny you should mention that. My sister loves her Cricut. Loves it. Loves the wrong word. She really likes it. And she cuts out and prints decals and sticks them to all sorts of things. So there's definitely something to that. Look at that, an aspiring DevOps guru says his wife loves hers, right? I'm assuming aspiring DevOps guru is a guy and wife, but their wife loves theirs. Sounds fancy. It is. So my sister is actually, I need to take over, I'm gonna have a golf shirt made up, and we're gonna put that logo on it, so that when I'm in studio for .NET Conf in September, I'll be wearing Works on My Machine shirt. Do I make a shirt and give it to Hanselman? That might be too much. Really big logo in the middle of a t-shirt. Get that? Because he's the world's most okayest programmer. Hey, Sweet Milk 121. I'm gonna decline that message. We are family friendly here. Thanks so much for chiming in there in the chat room, but I want to make sure that folks that nobody gets offended by that. Okay. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you joining us. So, and it's I don't want to. I want to make sure there's nothing inferred that's racist. I know you didn't use any racist term there, but it was right there on the border. That's weird. Yeah, I agree with you. It should have blocked that appropriately. Standby reloading. I agree. That's weird, but thanks for tuning in, Sweet Milk. Like I was saying, we want to make sure that nobody nobody's offended, anything like that. And you're right, Smab. I need to reseed. So, this is a feature of Entity Framework Core where it's actually going to regenerate this code for me for use in my database. I think we should cheat here a little bit, fellas. Team. Here's. I don't want to say fellas because it's not just guys here. I want to make sure ladies are also involved. So team. Let's use the word team. And I'll be sure to stick by that. I want to make sure the ladies are included as well. So I'm going to reach into where it actually generates and builds that seed, and I'm going to find it right there, and I'm going to update it myself. What do you think? That's not too bad, is it? And is it here in the snapshot also? It is. It's right there. So I'll fix that. Squad, crew, team. I'm no native speaker, least fixed point says, so fellas is only men. It's Americans, folks that do speak English, the term fellas is sometimes referred to just men, and I want to make sure that we're inclusive here, right? And there are some folks out there that don't identify as men or women. That's fine. I want to make sure that they're included as well. So to say team, right? Or I like to refer to our friends in the chat room as some other pair programmers out there, because you're making a lot of code changes and helping to enhance our applications here. I'll use the term pair programmers as well. So it at one point it was a little bit more general. When I was a kid in school, we would hear teachers use the term guys to refer to all of the class. You know, oh guys, what are you doing? And it wasn't referring to just men, it was referring to, right, or boys and girls, but they used the term guys to generically refer to everybody. But I want to make sure that I don't exclude anyone. So that's why you'll hear me use terms like folks or team, right? So, or friends, right? I'll say, hey friends, what do we think about this? So, y'all, oh my gosh, that's another good one. Yes. Guys is one that Ward struggles with. Yeah, it's something that I want to make sure that we don't let that we don't exclude anyone. And I think Moz is still here in the chat room. Yeah, you know, I want to make sure that other people, you know, that everybody's included. So, and I agree. Folks is easy to use, and it's something that doesn't offend anybody. It's very inclusive. It's very down to earth as well. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that, and I will check myself, and I'm gonna call myself out on that one. I wasn't using a more inclusive term, so I apologize for that. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here. I think I got those couple places where it has home page jammed together. Let's just do a quick search and make sure. Wait a sec. Wait a tick. Where's this one? I thought I just fixed that. Oh, this is in the designer view. Ugh. All right, let's do this. Let's search for quote home page. Don't use regular expressions. Find all. All right. So this is in the add author name to article. We'll fix that one. Go back to my find results. And it's off screen. That's so annoying. I feel like that's an easy piece of feedback that we could give to the Visual Studio team. Yeah. You know what? Let's do that. So I'm going to click the little send feedback button up here, and I encourage you, if there's something that you don't agree with, that you think isn't behaving properly here, you can provide a suggestion. No, let's not do that. Moz says guys can trigger some in the transgender community. Yeah, and I do have some transgender friends, and I don't. I want to make sure that we're including everybody, right? Regardless. So I'm. Yeah, I'm gonna catch myself on that. These massive one-liners, got to break those up. You know what? This is generated code, President. Not sure, so I'm not as concerned about it. Find. Let's just search for find. Quick find. Find and not finishing. Find in files doesn't find. Blah blah blah. Find and replace. Find all references. Find reference. Find string. Cannot find. Find in files. Stopped working. No. Broken. Find all references. No. All right. Let's create a new one. Search. Yes. Find result. Find result does not appear. Oh, wait a sec. No. Is off screen. When I click on a find result, if the if the line of code is very long, the highlighted result will not be scrolled onto the screen. Okay. Attachment. Yes. That's fine. That screenshot's fine. You know what? We should... Can I take a new screenshot? I want to take a new screenshot. How do I take a new screenshot? That's the preview. So let's open Find Results. Pin that so they can see it. It's not... Alright, I'm going to copy that and start this over. Report new problem. Where was it? Find result is off screen. Paste that in. Next. Nope, didn't catch it. It's like it takes the screenshot before. Finding why find doesn't find. I know! Find result is off screen. And I'll paste that in. There we go. So you can see that I have it highlighted and that it's off the right side of the screen. Will not be horizontally scrolled onto the screen. In the screen shot, the result is only the first character of the result is shown on the right side of the screen. And these are little things that we can report that will right, it's a little paper cut, right? It's an annoying thing, but it's something they can fix easily and improve in the next patch without having to rewrite all of Visual Studio, right? We don't need to wait for a brand new version for this to be fixed. So the more help that we can give those folks when we experience something like this, the better we can make Visual Studio for everybody. So, next report. Cannot change screenshot while writing report. Yes! Yes! That's a... Now, here's the thing. Some of those folks actually watch us here. So, and they do a tremendous job. Visual Studio is easily one of the most complex applications that I've ever had the pleasure of working on. Yeah, it can be fixed easily. It would actually be a big impact for the effort. Right. Just, you know, I was searching for home page, right? Just scroll those other 9 characters over so they appear. We're not looking for a lot, right? That shouldn't be too hard to enhance if it's isolated with that find functionality. Tools, options, text editor, languages, wrap text. Now we've got the space in our document here. We've got the space over here nicely. So that works. Now, I thought I had word wrap turned on. All right. So /wiki/ defaults to the home page. Yes. Yes. I think. So does just /. All right, so that goes to just the home page, and if I mouse over this, it is just /wiki/ and I click on that, and it does. You can see up here it's /wiki/ and it is the home page. Now the home page is kind of a unique one here, and this kind of feeds into that question of wiki text. When we think about wiki text, right? Wiki text is if we name an article with Pascal case, right? So that's all capitals separating the words. That should be used appropriately, right? That should be turned into a link that goes to a new page. If we put a space between the words, it should turn those in. It should put a hyphen between the two to make that back into wiki text, right? So that's appropriate for wiki text. That's appropriate for a slug. Help me out here, chat room. What is wiki text? Let's make sure we have the formatting here appropriate. User documentation, implementation, testing, parser tests. Because I really like how MediaWiki does this concept of wiki text. Basic text formatting. How do we name? This is Markdown at this point. But how do we name our articles so that they appear properly? Links. Here we go. Here's a link to a page named Official Position, and it's Official Positions. Official Positions. So they're actually forcing those links. And you know what? They're not getting uptight about the hyphens and those things in the names of their articles. They're naming their articles. Interesting. All right, I think we're okay then with what we've got for right now. I think we've improved and fixed this. Fixed the home page slug and naming. All right, let's push that. And there we go. I'm just looking at some of the folks that just popped into the chat room. Sir Teapot is out there. So there's a remove hyphen that is creating a new slug if the article has hyphens in it. Where's that? And the entire solution. Go. So in string helpers, if there is a hyphen, remove it. And this is called in URL helpers. And create an article from link. Well, that's going to be a problem. No, wait, that's going from the slug back to the topic. So that's okay. That's okay because, right, that's going the other direction. When I have home dash page, it's going to take it to, right, let's, slug should be a topic. Let's look at this one. String slug expected topic. So if we get 1-2, it'll convert it to 1-2. Comes right back to making slug into a type. I am feeling that more and more. Yes. Alright, close that. Alright. 183 and 207 we can close. It didn't close that. And yep, we did. Yeah, that's merged. All right, where's 207? 207. Yep. Good. All right. Oh, that's a good idea. Adding unsubscribe link to notification emails. Add comment preview to new comment notification email. All right, that's not bad. Add email confirmed checking before sending notification emails. Yeah, yeah. There's the rainbow beard challenge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. I'm not dyeing my hair rainbow colored, dear Lord. So the homepage was an exception to that test then. It wasn't adding a space. No, it does add a space. It does. Right, if we convert the topic back to a... If we convert the slug back to the topic, it does it properly. Right, home dash page should go to home page. What about having the animated Fritz that has a rainbow beard? That's a little much. All right, so that worked. So, all right. Let's do a little bit of this refactoring. Right, so notifications. So Erwin's clearly knee-deep in the notifications and doing a real good job pulling that together. And I want to make sure I put a big thanks out there to Erwin working on that. But let's start refactoring some of these data objects so that we have real entities and around article and comment, and we separate them from our database persistence, and then we can bring in mediator to actually interact with those articles. All right, Janescu, you're getting a little carried away here. We're gonna put you in timeout here. Let me tell you. Whew. All right. Because when I think back to what Julie was saying to us yesterday about having our objects so tightly coupled to entity framework, really struck home with me. Because I feel like we're fighting those objects each time we interact with the website. And that kind of feeds into what we learned from Jimmy Bogard yesterday, where we can use Mediator to have those rich those rich view models directly on our pages to really simplify things. So I think between the two, between the two topics, the two ideas of that domain-driven design and the Mediator very simplified pages, there's definitely some place for us to grow and make Entity Framework do much less work. Now, I don't think we want to get into event storage. Right? Do we want to talk about event storage? Do we want to get in that? Stop the stream for about 7 hours so I can catch up on the workshop, and then we can continue.
Do it!
We're gonna do it now. We should talk about event storage and snapshots. Read models, smaller steps. That's... Event storage does become an obvious fit. But the problem, and where I want to make sure that I don't completely break the world, because this is going to be a significant rewrite. Hey, Justin. Event storage is a little overkill for this. The only sidecan, link to the workshop right now. You can get it if you click on the videos link up at the top of Twitch here, and you'll see it. It's the top video right now on my channel. You don't need snapshots for stuff that probably only have less than 50 events per aggregate. I agree with you there. I do. I think that event storage would... It definitely helps with our history capabilities that we have inside of the project here. And let's run this and let's think about event storage the same as event sourcing. Yes, it is, Andres. Yes, I've heard people use the two terms interchangeably. So, and the only sidecan, that's the full 8 hours as one video. I'm actually in the midst of editing it down to a series of 7 component videos with all the links and things that that our guests shared with us, and that'll be over on YouTube hopefully by the end of the weekend. It's taken me a little bit of time to render all of that video. Natural audit log, yes, Beck Bristow. Interesting. I'm thinking of John Bristow. Not the same person, I'm assuming. So the idea, right, when I look at my homepage right now, it only has one version. Let's create some extra versions here. And actually it's going to blow up on me because I'm not logged in. Look at that. I shouldn't have had the edit button. I thought we fixed that. That the edit button doesn't show if you're not logged in. Let's take a look. That's on the details page. Doom, 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 doom. Hey, and there's Hot Diggity Dog in the chat room. Good morning. So, let me ask you guys this. If we were to... Oh, it might be in another branch Oscoder. I think you're right. If we were to do a shoutcast, if we were to do a little bit of commentary over the Overwatch match tonight here on stream, is that something you'd be interested in watching? Let's see here. If I go into details, I think you might be right. It might be in another branch. You would be interested in it. All right. I can't remember. 3 commits ahead, 43 behind dev. Well, that's not very good. Let's go over here. Pages. Details. So I thought I put on our edit button down at the bottom. Where's the edit button? There it is. Nope, it's not in this branch. Try a different branch. I feel like I need that logo from Mario, right? The princess isn't here from Mario. Lord Vinley. I need this to pop up in GitHub. Thank you, Lord Vinley, for joining us. Such a pleasure to have you. No, I see Lord and I think it's something royal or something. Thank you for the follow. I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Yes, when the Fusion win tonight. Giddy up. Alright, maybe we'll do that. So, I have a terrible English accent that ends up droning into a even worse Australian one. Alright, let's see if I put it... Where did I put that code? Where did I put that code? You know what? It might be here in... This is project versions and ratings. There's the content. The editor script. Comments partial. There's the edit button. No, the edit button doesn't have it on there. No. But I did do that in a little bit of the authorization work that we did around our authorization policies. I didn't write the can edit article. I have can write articles, but I didn't do can edit articles. Let's just fix that real quick. Change this to can edit articles, which doesn't exist, so create that, and I'll turn that into a constant over there. No. Can edit articles, right? And so now I have a policy called can edit articles. You must be authenticated and you must be an author or an administrator in order to edit an article. And we need to make that actually a resource appropriate policy as well. We'll take care of that a little bit later when we get a little bit further into our security model. But for right now, I'm going to go to this ASP edit. And I'm going to use our ASP policy, and this is can edit, right, what was the name of that? Policy constants. Wrong page. There it is. Policy constants. Are you kidding me? You know what, I'm going to put that in my page, my shared view start. Thank you for the follow, Zytrus. Am I pronouncing that right? Zytrus1? Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room and helping you out, answering any questions you might have. Alright, so now there it is. Can edit articles. Bazinga. Alright, so now that'll just disable the button if you don't have access to it. Ah, terrific. Why do you use magic strings instead of public const string policy name equals name of policy name? Oh, you're right. Well, wait, will it do that? Will it let me can delete articles? Will it let me do that even though it's not? It does. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. Nice, Ben's. Ben Swee? Ben's Wee? Ben? Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I thought you wouldn't be able to do that type of reflection? Inference? Right? Build. You have no idea why this works, but it works. Nice, Gov. Yeah. That is pretty cool. Nice suggestion, Ben. I like it. Alright. So now I can do policy constants, can edit articles, and it just works. Some kind of preprocessor, not really a function. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay, so now that edit button will be turned off when I'm not logged in. Right? Do it. Do it.
Do it!
Right. Now it's... Right, I can't use it when I mouse over it. You do not have permission. And if I log in, I'll log in with Twitter, because that's what I do. Now I can still not edit because I'm not an author and I'm not an administrator. That feels bad. Locked out of your own wiki. I know!
And you blew it!
I did. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's solve that by saying whoever the first user that you create is an administrator. And that'll solve that problem for now until we can get around to writing a proper user administration page. So identities, identity, pages, account. Okay, register. Da 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 do 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 da. So new core wiki user manager create user if results succeeded. User created a new user. But it also happens in the login if we log in with an external. Right, and we create somebody here. Right, not get external login info. If the user does not have an account, ask the user to create an account. Oh, yeah, so it comes back to the same page. Here it is, user manager add login. User manager create user and then add the login. So what I could do is look at the user manager and I think you're right, Smab. We are overdue for a user management. Is this better approach than seeding the first user? The problem with seeding the first user, and this is a discussion I was having with Amanda Iverson from Code Fellows. You remember she joined us when we first added email notifications to our wiki. The problem is, in order to do that, you need to use User Manager to actually create and and set the password, right? So if I'm in the register page, generate this, send confirmation email, blah, blah, blah. Sign in async, where is it? Yeah, user manager, create async user input password. So during that seeding process, we need to create that default user with a default password. That's not something that we can do with Entity Framework because there's an encryption thing that goes on there. So what we would need to do, we would need to grab the user manager and fire that during startup, where we originally had some of that seed data at, which comes back to the topic of we need a initial configuration bit. Round and round we go, chasing our tails on this functionality. Which one is it going to be? Eeny, meeny, miny. Oh boy. For right now, I'm just going to tag on after this user manager create async. Oh, I would need a role manager in order to grant the role. Right? And I don't have the role manager here being passed in. I've actually used seeding for default users and it works. Really? Or you just use debugger is attached to give you administrator while debugging. Oh, that's nice. That's tricky. And we do need to just knock it out. Yes. We do need a proper user authorization capability here. Let's go over here. No, it's not a project. user administration page. Right. Two Wolf Design, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. The password has to be set and it gets rehashed. Ah, there you go. Need a user administration page to allow an administrator to set roles on users. Create users and delete users. Manage users. And I'm going to label that is an enhancement. I'll mark it help wanted if somebody would like to work on that. Yeah. Oh. Alright. For a wiki, it's probably okay to give away user on the same IP admin rights. Yeah. For this? Yes. The password has to be set and it gets rehashed. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Alright, I wanted to talk about and I wanted to talk about getting those objects, those entity objects into our core project, like Julie was suggesting. But then how much do we really need it over there if we're going to bring in Mediator? And kind of wrap and hide those objects anyway. I think if we're bringing in Mediator, core is the domain objects, not the entities. I can, boy. There's a philosophy thing that we're gonna run into here. Yeah, they are domain objects. How much do we need domain objects if we're gonna use Mediator? She sided at me for not having domain objects. I know, and it was, and folks that were watching said, "Man, Jeff, she burned you good." We should abstract the current entities to data transfer objects. Okay. So I'm seeing we need to take what's right now these entity framework objects. We need to turn them into data transfer objects. And we need domain objects as well. So if we have an aggregate root article object, that has comments hanging off of it. That has history hanging off of it. That has the slug history hanging off of it. Has the author attached. And how those are persisted in the database is neither here nor there. Right? We don't care about that. But those individual entities that we are persisting to the database, different. All right. Hey, Julie, if you're out there, or if somebody clips this video, take a look at that chat room. The folks out are still talking about how great you were yesterday. It was pretty special to have you join us. Thanks so much. All right. So I'm seeing several different layers of refactoring to do here. I feel like we need both get Julie in for a 2-hour session, and Julie's a legend. Look at that. I think we can do some stuff. may be overthinking, but in the event we wanted to hook into DocumentDB like Mongo, we would need to handle relationships in our domain. Explain relationships. What do you mean by relationships? Let's talk about that. Let's make sure we understand that a little bit. Article is bigger than comment. Yes. I think that any object that the user can modify, the view models should not be able to reach the database directly. Agreed, Erwin. I completely agree with you. I think what we're going to see is if we do bring in both mediator and the domain objects, we may end up doing a little bit too much transformation. Because, and we usually end up with auto-mapper, yes. Entity to domain object to back and forth to DTO. There's another idea. And I don't want to get carried away, and I don't want to over-engineer. I think our repository objects are still good. But if we bring in mediator and we map directly to those entity framework objects from our mediator view models, we still don't have a domain object. How much do we really need a domain object? Right? If we use mediator to generate and manage page model, isn't over-engineering okay in a learning project? Yes. Completely agree with that. I think we're now at I think our data model is at a point that we're okay making it a little bit more complex. Are there business rules and behaviors on the right side of things? Great question, Beck Bristow. That's something that we want to figure out, we want to learn about by introducing things like content reviews, right? If somebody submits if somebody creates an article, if somebody edits an article, we want to be able to review that in some circumstances. The conditions around that we'll figure out, but we think that the ability to review and do that little bit of workflow to review a change that somebody is submitting would be very interesting to do. You need it for a different database. Moz, yes, that's the understatement. The repository model really helps for when we want to abstract away and not be tightly coupled to entity framework. And you're right. I think that's the justification there. I think Moz just sold me on having entities or on having domain objects that whatever it is that entity. Okay. Okay. We have entities that entity framework can consume and present. Those same entities we'd be able to persist, whether it's MongoDB or Postgres or something else. Now, Moz, is that what you were thinking? And then those entities can be put together into a domain object that then mediator can consume and turn into its appropriate page models. We got approval from Moz. We got agreement. All right. Because
You've done exactly how I wanted. The only question is, are you the man to do it?
yes, we are. Yes, I am. All right. Are we using a specific architecture like Onion architecture? Well, Ancient Coder, we're going to kind of mash together a couple of these. CQRS is about separating the read versus write. Whether event sourcing or event storage is involved is a different concept. Agreed. The read store versus write store is more event storage than CQRS. Nah. Read store and write store is they can be two different things. They don't necessarily have to be event sourcing, right? For example, we might have a read store that, right, our write store might be a fully relational database. It's, you know, the way we have it right now in SQLite. That might be an okay write store. But we may want to denormalize, right, to bring the features out of that SQLite database and turn it into something that's flat, that has everything we need to present a web page, and that read model that supports those detail pages. We may store those values, let's say in Azure table storage, keyed by that slug. So you just go fetch by the slug, and there's everything for that object as a JSON blob, and then we can load that up. Microservice, all the things. Now cut that out, Erwin. What do you think about a goal to being able to change the underlying database to MongoDB or any document database? Then we know we are truly abstracted correctly. I think this is a good idea because you cannot run SQL Server or SQLite on Linux Mac. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can run SQL Server in a Docker container on Linux and Mac, and it's amazing. It's really good. You literally, once you have the Docker container installed, you can start a new SQL Server instance. That's a big, fat Microsoft SQL Server. Robust as all get out. And you can start it in seconds. It's pretty cool. But but your point is made, EM Triple. It's to be able to bring in and use MongoDB or a document DB or Cosmos DB, or Postgres is probably a bad choice. LightDB was another one that was suggested out there. To be able to swap out a very different NoSQL provider, I think is a very good goal. C17. What do you mean Microsoft Access? Yeah, you kappa on that one. I do think that is a very good goal. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a project, and let's call this new data architecture. And I'm going to run with exactly what EM Triple is saying there. Let's refactor our data interactions so that we can provide alternate data storage with a goal. Oh, Wavehack, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Now, Steve, you're getting a little sweaty over there. He is. Archducky. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. And Archducky, I think you've got the cool new handle of the day here. Hey, there's Wavehack. Hello. Let's see. Ward has a link for us. Yes, SQL Server on Linux. Absolutely. I still have old live sites out there using Access MDB files. Ooh. Coder veteran, but C# newbie. Oh, cool. Now, Smab, let me ask you: do you run into issues at all when you're doing writes with it locking that MDB file? That was always a challenge. That was always a concern I had when I had, and same thing with SQLite. When I'm working with a DB file, a single file like that it locks the file and it prevents other folks from writing. Jacked Potter, thank you for the follow. And look at this boy. Okay. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Oh, hey, Ashley. A lot of discussion today around how we should structure our data. So we're going to create this project. I'm not going to start adding any issues to it just yet. But we want to be able to refactor so that we can provide an alternate data storage with the goal of supporting, can I say MongoDB? Let's say NoSQL database, not DAGDA, databases like MongoDB. And Basic Kanban. Don't be there lightweight, so wait times are negligible. Okay, good. All right. I'm going to delete the note. Yes. Yes, I know about this. Okay. Go away. So, why is Postgres... Why Postgres is a bad choice? I don't think Postgres is a bad choice. I don't think I ever said Post. If I did, I take that back. Postgres is a pretty good database for storing for storing data. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, Word. I agree with you. The database that works for your needs is a good choice. I've had pretty good success running Postgres in a Docker container, so I can connect back and forth to it. It's a pretty good database. It's really matured over the last 5 to 10 years. When I was using it back in college, it had some shortcomings. No, I wasn't saying Postgres. I don't think I didn't mean to say Postgres is a bad choice. Postgres is not a good target for this refactoring because our current solution already supports entity framework, and that which really supports relational databases well. For this refactoring that we want to do, we want to be able to support non-entity framework coupled databases. And with Postgres, we can wire up with entity framework and it'll work great. So Postgres is a good solution with entity framework. For this refactoring, we want to be able to target the NoSQL databases as well. That's what I meant by it's not a good choice for this. Your Docker foo is still weak. Haven't tried databases in Docker yet. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you. Hey, Ashner. I start coding early. Yes, I do. Gosh, I need to find a clip of R. Lee Ermey where he talks about getting more done before breakfast than most people do in a whole day. Wavehack says, I love Dockerized databases. Yes! I run MariaDB in a Docker container. MariaDB is a flavor of MySQL. If I have that correct. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Wavehack. But you run it in a Docker container for a PHP project. It saves me from installing the whole database server on my Windows machine. Yes, yes, right? Right, so I can do Docker pull. Let's just grab Postgres. And here comes Postgres. And I only chose Postgres because, who was it? Gather was saying, you know, why not Postgres? Well, here's Postgres. There we go. I've got Postgres. Docker run Postgres. And I think I need to open the port. And I believe it's 5432. And there's Postgres running. I thought the port was 5432. I must have it wrong. Postgres password equals password. Let's do that. Postgres. I used to do a demo where I had this all set up. I'll just make it password because I'm really high tech like that. There we go. Invalid argument. Use -e Postgres _ password equals password to set it in Docker run. Invalid argument. What? Docker run Postgres -e Postgres _ password equals password. Oh, you think it needs to be before the image? You might be right. It does get picky about the order of switches. Yeah, there we go. And it is on port 5432. 5432. 5432. And now it's running and it's listening, and I can attach into it and interact with it. And then if I use volumes, yes. So a volume is a way for you to connect a folder on the host machine, in this case my Windows 10 machine here, into that virtual folder that the container is using. So in order for me to persist the content in, here's the data folder, right? var lib PostgreSQL data, right? I want to map that to a folder on disk so that when my container shuts down, my data for the database is still on disk, and the next time I start it up, it still references that same data on disk. I missed a bunch of comments here. It persists automatically until you decide to remove the container, even between restarts and reboots. Even between restarts and reboots. Dockerized database is a good choice for production. Right, you have to use the volumes to do that. Now you need another data-only container or a link to the storage, and Postgres is there, including easy update. Yes, Tagaron. Agreed. You create a volume that stands alone, similar to a Docker image as well, and it persists. I had no problems with data persistence between restarts. Yeah, I thought the container runs in memory only, and it doesn't actually write anything to disk. It doesn't have, right? When I go to restart it, well, wait a sec. If I just stop that, I did a Control C. It should have shut that down entirely. Hang on. Look at that. One dead. What are the chances? Hey, Spawn Hub TV. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Docker RM, and the other one was A54. We'll get rid of that one. I think that only occurs if you use the RM option. You might be right. Alright, so I'm going to run it, and let me run it in detached mode. There it is. So if I do a docker ps, there it is running. So now if I stopped it, right? Isn't it docker stop? Yeah. And if I stop 5 Charlie, that's not, no. 5 Charlie. Okay. So now I have these ones that are stopped out there, including Charlie 5 and 23. Let's get rid of those. Charlie 5. 23. Look at this. I've got some extra ones laying out here. Get rid of those. There's my Hello World that I ran yesterday with Steve Lasker. Docker RM 5 Baker. Now, the only one that's still out there is this one with name Postgres. If I do docker start now on 5 Charlie, now it is running again, and it's still out there. But if that container is removed, then it'll forget things. It will, right? You won't have it anymore. You can run the docker save command, and you can resave an image with the current state of things that are in there. So this would be a good way. And our friend J.R. Cook, you'll see him sometimes join us. He's Eldorian. He's Eldorian in the chat room. He was running into an issue where he wanted to seed a database in Docker so that he had something for quality assurance, so that his testing group had the same instance of the database whenever they started up their testing. Something like this, Docker save after you apply and seed it with all the appropriate test data is a good way to then, after you load it up with the data, save a snapshot of that database so that then you can restart that snapshot and attach it to your test environment so it has all that base configuration for you. What do we got here? Gotta bail, folks. Catch you later, aspiring DevOps guru. SpawnHub asks, do you not use Kitematic? I find that useful for Docker things. The only reason I don't use Kitematic is because I've gotten used to doing things on the command line. And I've been told that elite developers use the command line. Maybe not. I'm okay with using Kitematic. It's okay. The other advantage of me learning how to use the command line for manipulating Docker is that Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code execute those same commands when you do the integrated features for managing Docker containers and building and debugging Docker containers. This way I get a little bit of insight, and I know just enough. I like to use the term, I know just enough to be dangerous when working with containers from within those two tools, and if I need to peek at what's actually going on behind the scenes. So I agree with you, SpawnHub TV, that Kitematic is nice to get around and manage and be able to have a good view of it. But I've learned enough that I can, like I said, be dangerous on the command line. I got used to naming them to avoid the automatically named versions. Amen, Smab. Have Docker using a volume for the node modules folder when developing on Windows. Ooh, that's a good idea. Don't elite developers use a bash shell, though? I'm using PowerShell. It's called Power, so it's gotta be good. It's like Smuckers. Even on Windows, I can't live without a bash shell. Okay, cool. And SpawnHub says, any true developer will use PowerPoint slides to write code in. Now cut that out. What is that? All right. I'm looking at you. So the goal of this project that we started is we want to be able to drop in a NoSQL database. We want to be able to use Mongo. We want to be able to use LightDB, Cosmos DB as an alternative, a non-entity framework database. And if we start iterating on this, if we start really wrenching on this, wrenching? Is that a good term? It's going to be, now did that add a note or, no, I don't want a note. I want an issue. I want to add a card. I want to create a card. Yeah, that's the search. Right, if I click add here and I start keying this in. Ashnor says, is Cosmos DB a document storage database like MongoDB? Yes, it is. Cosmos is a database that is available on Azure that will not only store documents, but it has geo-replication built into it. So you can replicate your content to any other Azure data center in the world, and you end up with great redundancy capabilities. So it is nice. It's a little bit expensive, but if you need that feature, right, if you need to be able to have ACID transactions and that geo-redundancy, Cosmos has that for you. So I don't like, this is creating a note. I want to create an actual issue and add that into the mix here. What happened to Document DB? Is that now Cosmos DB? So Cosmos has several different flavors of database that you can light up as part of it. Document DB is part of it. The NoSQL features of Cosmos DB most closely map to MongoDB. There's a compatibility there. I think they actually extended MongoDB to make Cosmos DB. I'm not completely up to speed on it. Once again, I know enough to be dangerous. Okay. Refactor entity framework models to entities. This will allow us to break from entity framework. So we have a couple different things we need to do here. We need to create the entity classes. We need to create the fluent configuration for entity framework. And I think that's it. Oh, remap the repository objects to return entity objects. Isn't ACID more for SQL? Yes, it is. And DocStore provide more of basic transactions. So that's just it, right? If you need ACID transactions, document storage doesn't natively provide that. Yeah, base transactions. But you can get it. I believe you can get it with Cosmos. Alright, so this will allow us to break from that. Let's create another. I will mark these with enhancement, help wanted. These are not first issues. Oh wait, I can assign it to the project right here. Oh, good. Why isn't it in my project list? It's still not in my project list. There we go. Cool. Awaiting triage. Fantastic. Alright, next one is create domain objects. This will allow us to centralize our validation and business rules for the domain. All right. We'll make this an enhancement, help wanted, and I will put this in new data architecture. Introduce mediator. I'm not even going to go into all the stuff for this one. All right. I think that's pretty much where we want to be with these. Here we are, triage. All right. Okay. Refactor entity framework. Create domain models is next, and then introduce mediator. And I think that's a pretty good project. Domain object or entity, what's the difference? So the entity objects are more I'm crisscrossing between DTO and entity in my mind. Right, DTO is a data transfer object. I think let's change this. These should be DTO classes. And then we'll have our domain objects. Right, so that these put everything into one place, and then we'll introduce mediator to consume those. Yep. Only speaks to the business process. Yes. And Spawn Hub, no problem that you removed your entity framework code. Entity framework is pretty good, for what it does for interacting with a relational database, it's pretty good. What we want to do is we want to be able to support document-style databases, because what we're building here really is a content management application with a focus on documents. So to be able to introduce that, I think is a very effective and very, very cool, a very cool capability for this service. DTO is an object you use to go between controller and view, so you're not directly exposing your EF model. We're going to go between our repository and our domain object. It's an amazing tool. We only removed it for performance reasons in favor of straight SQL. And there's something to be said for straight SQL. You know your database better than Entity Framework, right? If you are in that case, if you are in that situation where you do have a skilled database administrator that's able to really tune and enhance the way that you're interacting with the database, you can't beat straight SQL against the database. That said, Entity Framework does allow you to execute that specific SQL statement and hydrate objects directly from it, and it will cache those SQL statements and take advantage of some of those other things that Entity Framework does, not just the mapping, right? If you're specifying the statements and how you map to your entity objects, great. Entity Framework will still work with you on that. All right. So what we started with Julie, if we take that and we start looking at doing this as part of that, I'm going to move this over to here. So, what did I do? I forget where I left this because we just started talking. We started talking about how to do the user. Rats, we got so distracted. So right now we don't have a way to create a user. Fine. Not duff. Diff. What did we put in here? We created the can edit articles. Model article slug. We applied that policy. Okay. So for right now, here's what I'm going to do, just to make sure that this works. I'm going to turn off that role requirement and just require that you're authenticated to edit an article. After we can assign users to roles, we will want to re-enable this. Okay. Added can edit policy. And that takes care of that. Maybe name this project New DDD Architecture. I'm just calling it New Data Architecture. I don't think we need to get in to call it DDD Architecture. There was an extension I've seen for EF Core that allows you to define and execute SQL stored procs through Entity Framework. Yes, I thought that was pretty neat and can allow you to allow you to have more of that straight SQL performance. Yes, absolutely. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Roastern? Is that? I think that's. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Entity Framework Core with stored procs. And it doesn't necessarily have to be stored procs. But here, DB context set from SQL, right? Let me see if there's, it's got to be here in the docs somewhere. Raw SQL queries. Raw SQL queries. So context.blogs from SQL select star to list. And it'll return a collection of blog objects, right? And there you go. From SQL, execute, and it'll create and do that. Composing with link, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But yes, always use parameterization. You run with a modified version of Dapper. Cool. Ward says, a little too specific. DTO are literally objects that move between this and that. Yes. More of a design pattern or technique might be a way to think about data transfer object. Yeah, I think that's where we're moving towards here. Oh shoot. Shoot. Let's get branch. Let's see where we are here. So I've got a couple extra ones here. Let's get rid of because we did the merge on that. Wasn't there a thing with article attach in that edit page? I'm getting paranoid all of a sudden. Published, slug, author ID, author name. No, it gets the article up there. All right. Okay. Let's get rid of some of these other ones. Get branch. That's not how you spell branch. I can type. Get rid of that one. Feature extensibility is where we were working with Miguel. Nope, I want to check out with Julie. Okay. Was it one day at a time? Where the mother would go, ah, Julie. Okay. All right. Let's merge dev. Okay. Yep. And I finished all my coffee. Oh no. So we put models over here and we have these objects. We want to turn these into simple DTOs and get rid of these these objects on here. Boy. All right. It's a good place to start next time. Because it is 12:30. We're well over. I didn't realize from SQL was supported now. That's great. I was actually referring to stored procedure EF core. Yeah, we're 2.5 hours in. We're a little bit over how long I normally like to go on a stream here. Is there a way to rename a branch? Oh, let's get rid of that one from Ashley. There we go. No, stop it. Stop it. If I say that, it's going to open a browser. Josh says, does Microsoft ever let me take a break? What you talking about? Of course. I I really enjoy doing this, the live streaming. This is something that I started on my own, separate from Microsoft. They happen to endorse. They really like what I'm doing here. So we're going to continue this. We're gonna continue and grow with their support. And I think well, actually, Denerd, it looks like I can just pass in 2 branch names and it'll just do it. Or is it -R? No, that's the remote. So this is something I enjoy doing. This is something that I'm going to continue on, and I will call this Project New Data. I know it exists. I'm trying to rename it. I pity the fool. A and R options to get branch do not make sense with a branch name. You make me sad. With a -M, it'll be renamed. Good. Much better. Git push. Ta-ta. Ha-ha! Got it. All right. So I've got those couple suggestions that Julie gave us yesterday during the workshop saved, and they're in that Project New Data repository up there. So let's wrap up. So we're going to go after, and there, Matthew had it there in the chat room, and I missed it. So what we're going to do, we're going to continue to work on this Project New Data branch to do this refactoring and go after making some support so that we can shift from having repositories that support Entity Framework, and we could drop in Postgres, MariaDB, MySQL, SQL Server, SQLite, or we'll be able to drop in some other NoSQL repository providers and use those as well. So that's really cool, and this will also allow us to be able to bring in and use Mediator, because we'll have a very concrete data structure that is a little bit more well thought out than just directly coupling to Entity Framework. When can we have the paperclip back in Microsoft Word? Now stop that. You miss him. I want to have the paperclip in my website so that folks can get help when they need it. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll create a character and we'll have the Fritz bot. We'll have the Fritz bot as the paperclip. No, I don't know. Thanks for the bike ride entertainment. No problem. All right, so we checked in all of our stuff, so we have some place that we can go with this and we can follow up on. And I do like the idea of inviting Julie back to talk about this. We'll see what her availability is. I've no promises. I'm not speaking for her, but I think it's a great idea. Let's see what we can do here. Who's out there doing a programming stream right now that we can send folks over to? Because I always want to make sure that we are supporting other folks in the programming community. Let's see here. Oh, here's somebody learning Django. Botmaker is learning TypeScript. Oh, that sounds good. I like that one. Let's see what they're doing over here. This is Foxy style. Oh, you know what? This is at Node Summit San Francisco. We're not going to raid Node Summit. Yes. Okay, that's loud. And Mario ran out of music again. Come on back. Yeah. I don't want that. Oh. C# JSON read and writing with Mustafa Nessen. Yeah, here we go. Actually, yep, there we go. What theme reveal? No. Yes, there's a Twitch extension jam going on. You know what? I don't think Mustafa's actually interacting with the chat. More just recording what's going on out here. Ah, nuts. You know what? Is it in creative? Is where I also see folks doing code. There's Bob Ross. Overwatch. I don't want to rate Overwatch. There's people painting, drawing. Ooh, no. Programming cured my hemorrhoids. That's just wrong. Right there. And I don't see any of our friends coding right now. You know what? I think we're just going to end. Bummer. All right. Were you suggesting a voiceover for Overwatch earlier? Yes. We're going to try and do that a little bit later. My friend Hot Diggity Dog, his name is Julio. We're going to try doing a little voiceover for the Overwatch match tonight. We'll broadcast, we'll give our opinions on how things are going, and we'll see how that goes. We'll give that a try here on the stream, and hopefully we won't get banned for managing and talking about the Overwatch content. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to even embed their video. So, tonight confused me. 2:30 a.m. Oh, no. 7 Eastern Time. 4 p.m. Pacific. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. And I'll be back on Tuesday. I'm getting some of our other guests in line. We'll see who can join us when. But once I know when they're lined up, when they're able to join us, you'll see guests scheduled. But thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. I'm going to archive off this video. It'll be over on YouTube for you. And we'll see you next time. Alrighty. Take care.